Welcome to class 4 of Create Your Life at Center for Spiritual Living, Asheville. It is the end of September 30th, 2019. How about that, being focused in time and space? It is whenever it is that you're watching and wherever you may be, but it always is now. We begin everything in spiritual mind treatment, so take a deep breath and let it go. And what I know is that there is a power and a presence that is in and through all things, everyone, everywhere, and every when. It is the infinite, absolute, creative cause, and out of it everything came. So I know that each one of us is made of God's stuff. We are spiritual beings alive and well on planet Earth, and we have the power to create our lives always within us. We always use that power. And so I know that tonight we hear what we need to hear, we incorporate what we need to incorporate in our lives, and we move forward creating the best life ever. And with great gratitude and thanksgiving for this amazing presence that we are, I simply release this into all that Spirit is. Because I know that Spirit is all, as together we say, and so it is. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. How are your vision boards? Yay. Done. And Jen, did you have a story?
Well, I already had something manifest from my vision board, so that's exciting.
Yay!
Yay.
It was
I showed you the picture of the band that I used to be in, a swing band playing saxophone. So now that I manifested a sax, this Thursday I am going to my first rehearsal at a band.
Has anyone else had a demonstration from their vision board? Pegatha, loud and clear.
Last Wednesday, I went to pick up a Frisky Bob that I'm pet sitting for, and I showed Lynn my latest piece of art, which I call Yard Whimsy, and she bought it.
Yay! Yay! I demonstrated my "that was easy" button. Wonderful, wonderful. If you're still working on your vision board, keep working on it. There's no set time on it. You can have it be a work in progress. I like what Amanda said, that she has layers of pictures on her board. You can make many boards of different types, and it's just fun. It's a way to imprint upon your subconscious mind the images of that which you want to experience in life. And it works in a really fun way. Any other comments or anything about what we've worked on up until now? Because tonight, what?
I also wanted to say, 3 weeks ago, when we were talking about we did that exercise where we went underneath and found how we were distorting love and being loyal in weird ways and things like that. I found another layer of that just recently, and it was like super empowering and stuff, so I was really excited.
Wonderful. You found a way that you were distorting love and acting out in a way that didn't benefit you.
Exactly.
And you found a whole other layer of it.
Yep.
It's amazing how complicated we are, how complex we are. And it's important to know that everything we do out of noble intentions. That's one thing that I loved about what John talked about yesterday about relationships. If you understand that your partner has noble intentions, then you're not thinking they're a dirty, rotten scoundrel just trying to screw you over, but that everything that we do in life comes from a place of wanting to experience love. And if it comes out in a distorted way and we don't experience love, then we want to change the way that we're acting so that we can still have that noble intention of love, but handle it in a healthier way and be able to get what we wanted all along, which was the experience of love. Tonight, we're going to talk about prosperity, money, and self-worth. Which one do you think is the most important out of all of those?
Self-worth.
You're so smart.
I have a wonderful teacher.
Many people would say, oh, the money is the most important. But I tell you, I've been working on this since my 20s. I married my first husband thinking he was rich. And he was rich when I married him. But it didn't take him very long to be poor. And then we lived all of those years in pretty intense poverty. And the benefit I got out of there was a wonderful son, which is probably the reason that we came together to begin with, not a season, certainly not a lifetime. But I've done all kinds of things trying to find the key to have money. You know, how do you get money? How do you have those outer things that will tell me, for me personally, that I am okay, that I am safe, that I'm valuable? How can I create things on the outside so that I feel those on the inside? And that's backwards. Because the thing that is going to affect our ability to have money and to prosper, they're not necessarily the same thing. Both are equally important. But the thing that is going to allow us to do that is our sense of self. And as long as we're going through life feeling like we don't deserve to have good things, that there's not enough good things to go around, that we don't have what it takes to have good things in our life, as long as we're going through life, whether it's conscious or like we saw 3 weeks ago, that it's subconscious, whether it's conscious or subconscious doesn't matter. If we have those feelings about ourselves, then we're going to close the door to money and prosperity. A lot of people come into this teaching and they think that they're going to chase prosperity or they're going to grab money. And the thing is you're not chasing prosperity, you're not demonstrating prosperity, you're not grabbing money in your life. Really, all that we have to do is stop fighting it off. Stop fighting it off and open up to accept all of the good that is in life for us now. But to open up and accept that, we've got to let go of doing some things that push it away. What kind of things might push away money?
Ripping off other people.
Absolutely, ripping off other people. You know, if we go through life thinking that we've got to scheme our way through, that we're like, and forgive me if anyone is a car salesman, but it's such a good analogy. A used car salesman that's trying to sell the car that was in the flood and not let anybody know, and there's a lot of lack of honesty going on. If we go through life like that, then we're going to, instead of get more money, we're going to push it away. Because what is the state of self-worth if someone feels like they have to rip off someone else?
Not low. Not self-worth.
Low, what?
Not self-worth.
Not self-worth, but what is the state? Lack. That you've got to con people, because being honest and open certainly won't fly. If you're honest and open, then whatever is going to happen will end up with you not being able to demonstrate what you want. So let's walk that back a little bit. If we're going through life saying, I have certain needs. How many people saw the kid drop a penny out of his boot? Wasn't that hysterical? And I very clearly said, pay attention. This is a child getting his needs met. To stop everything and say, I have a trick. He already put the penny in his shoe. I'm going to pull a penny out of my boot. Shake it, and there comes the penny. And everybody clapped and cheered for him. If you have a need of being able to be yourself and get loved and supported from that, then you're not going to develop a sense that you have to con people into loving you or supporting you, or that you have to change who you are in order to have your needs met. And this is not the typical way that in our time children were raised. I think that it's getting better, but then I look out in the world and maybe not so much. You gotta sit still, you know, you've gotta say what we want you to say, you gotta say please and thank you, you gotta have the fake smile for the picture. Have you noticed a whole generation of, it's not their smile, that's their picture.
Selfies all the time.
Oh, yeah.
So we've gotta be someone that we are not in order to be safe and for us to think that we're going to be able to have what we need to have in life. Instead of resting in this idea that no matter what we do, it's gonna be okay. Like staying up on the stage, commanding the room and saying, I have a magic trick. There was no shut up and go sit down. There was no, who was this child's parent, that they would do such a thing. There was great joy and accolades for the spontaneity of being themselves. If we could take that inside of ourselves and know that whoever we are and whatever is going on, we are supported by life, then we will develop this sense of worth and value. And as long as we are unconsciously going through life, play acting who people want, who I think people want me to be. I will be who I think you want me to be. You don't want me to be that. So there is never a connection on that, especially in relationships. I will be who I think you want me to be, and then I will want you to love me, except the love doesn't come because I'm not here. I'm someone else. They may be loving the person that I'm pretending to be, but I'll never feel that because I'm not that person. All kinds of levels of psychological dysfunction occur for us to end up being able to bar the prosperity, the blessings, the love, and the support of the entire universe, which is coming at us 24 hours a day. And so when we when we can learn to stop stopping the flow of life, then money shows up, prosperity shows up, opportunity shows up, because there's a balance, a synchronicity, a serendipity, a cohesion of all of life that is made to support life. Otherwise, life would have died out long ago. There is an evolution going on because we continue to evolve, and that's just on the physical plane. On a spiritual plane, on an energetic plane, the universe and beyond must continue to expand, or else there would be a limit to whatever it is, wherever the end of it is. So it can never end in order to be an infinite, so it's got to always expand, and that expansion is going on all the time and comes into our experience as life wanting to grow as us, life wanting to have more joy as us, more love as us, more health, more wholeness, more money as us. When I first came into this teaching, I was 28 years old, and the first thing I did was go into therapy. And it helped. It was part of the center. We had little therapy groups, and we had it was pretty sophisticated. They gave the Minnesota Multiphasic Personality Inventory to really weed out the crazies. And we had a psychiatrist in Los Angeles that would write out little slips that are, you may want to look at your tendency to generalize from specifics, your tendency to hold on to things, and we got one of those slips every week. And I got an opportunity for the first time in my life to look at some of the highly dysfunctional behaviors that I had adopted in life, thinking that that was the only way to be. I was so poor. I had started I had married into a photo processing lab in Miami and ended up absconding with all of the, this is part of my sordid past, absconding with all of the equipment when the letter from the IRS came a couple of days before the padlock on the door came. And so in the dead of night, everybody gathered together and unbolted everything, rented these big trucks and loaded everything up and went for the hills in Central Florida to set up a photo processing lab with the IRS, hot on our tail, but the IRS couldn't find us because we've changed the name of the business and reincorporated and all of that stuff. But I had the opportunity to have about 15 employees to run this photo processing lab, which I had never had any training for or any experience in, but I am smart and I could do that. And I started having it make a profit, until finally my first husband at the time negotiated a deal with a person in the Bahamas to do thousands of school photos. And we're printing the 8x10 and the 2 5x7s and the, 3x4s and the wallets and packages for all of those. And at that time, we were very, very deeply involved in negative talk, in criticism, in people are not to be trusted, there's not enough to go around, life is just out to hurt us. And so what we managed to do was allow that person to run up a huge bill. At that time, it was a $10,000 order, and once delivery had been made, he said, I'm not in your country, and I don't have to pay you.
Oh.
And that was on us. That was a direct reflection and a setup. Anybody in their right mind would have had money coming in during that process.
Yeah.
You don't just send out $10,000 worth of photos, and this was back in the 70s, this was in 77. You don't send out $10,000 worth of photos to someone in the Bahamas without some kind of income coming in or some kind of guarantee or something. So we set ourselves up. And it wasn't long after that I ended up in Eugene and looking at what do I do in life to sabotage myself. Because that could have been a very lucrative deal that would have paid off a lot of bills and supported a lot of people, and instead it was the straw that broke the camel's back. So what do I do to sabotage myself, and what do you do to keep your good from you? If you are the light of the world, if the entire universe delights in supporting you in your every wish, in your every thought, in your every desire, then what is it that you're setting in motion that is not allowing the best to come into your life? And how are you continuing to do that? And more importantly, what can you do to start turning that around? How can you be on your side? How can you stand up for yourself? How can you, take your own best interests to heart? I'm a very smart person. I allowed myself to think that this was the end-all, be-all answer to my financial problems. This order from this guy, this was just fantastic. This was gonna make everything right. Instead of stopping and thinking, well, how can I be smart about this? How can there be some balance? Oh no, my self-worth was so low that I was working 80 hours a week to get this order out and work, and then something's gonna happen down the road to make it good, except it doesn't happen. Has anybody ever had that experience? Yes, and why did I put myself in that position? And if I see myself going in that position again, what can I do about it to shift it? That is all self-worth. And when you start looking at your self-worth and bringing that up to a higher level, I guarantee you the things of value in your life are going to raise up. Your relationships will raise up, your physical health will raise up, your money will certainly raise up, things will get easier because you don't have a need to struggle so much. Things will work out that used to not work out, and people will show up to be part of that. Some people call it people that show up to help. How many people have trouble asking for help? Yeah. That affects how much money is in your bank. Because if you ask for help and someone tells you no, then that means that, all is lost, you're not lovable, you're not capable, whatever else that may mean. What does that mean to you if you ask for help and it doesn't happen?
You're a failure.
You're a failure, what else?
Untrustworthy.
Unlovable, what?
Not worthy.
Not worthy. Instead, that just wasn't the right person. If you ask for help and someone says no, then it's time to ask someone else for help. Instead of, you are the end-all be-all of my good, please give it to me, and if you don't give it to me, I don't have it. The infinite flows through us. We have so much support coming into our life that all we have to do is stop slamming the door on it and watch it show up. But if we have a lack of self-worth inside of ourselves, if we tell ourselves no instead of yes, if we tell ourselves that we really shouldn't be doing this, that we really can't handle it, that maybe we're not smart enough, we don't have enough experience, we're not the right gender, the right age, the right education level, then we are shutting the door on all of life. I wish Lynn was here. Lynn is great for self-worth. She believes she deserves everything. Doesn't matter what it is. She says, oh, that's for me. And then she gets it. It's fantastic. And I look at myself and I go, well, the situation has to be really right for me to go there. Like, do you want a new car? I'm thinking about a new car. My car is 4 years old. And I'm thinking about a new car. My car is great. I love my car. Just found the CD player in it after 4 years. I have searched on that dashboard for a CD slot. There's nothing there until all of a sudden there was. So I'm thinking about it's really nice to have the cars paid for. All I need, is transportation. I love that green color, and I don't really need a new car. So why do I want a new car? Do I want a new car, and this is important, do I want a new car to buff up my image, that I think as the co-founding minister of this center, I should have a new car? That's a trap. I'm reminded of Sam Walton drove to work as a billionaire in an old pickup truck because he was good with that. So I have to look at myself and say, what is fueling that? What is feeding that desire to have a new car? Is it so that I will bolster my ego sense of self, which, listen up, comes from a place of not enough? If we're solid about who we are, it doesn't matter what we're driving, what we're traveling in, what kind of clothes we wear, where we live. That's not a statement on our value. Now, we may choose to live in a beautiful mansion on the seaside with private planes and boats and all those wonderful things that we put on our vision board. That's great, but why do we want that? Do we want that because we're coming from a sense of lack and we want to bolster our sense of self? Or do we want that because we are just opening and expanding to all that life has for us? So as I open and expand to all that life has for me, I've decided that the criteria is going to be the new car shows up paid for.
There you go.
There you go. Because I don't have to put myself into debt to be able to have a new car. And why do I really want a new car? Because I have this, this is important, this is good shrink stuff. Why do I even want to have a new car? What is it about the new car? Well, if I have a new car, then I'll be able to drive up here. I don't drive over here, I walk over here. I'll be able to drive up here and I'll be able to park and, ooh, that's Barbara's car. So what? I know who I am far beyond a vehicle. So I'm always questioning myself. I'm always looking at myself, going, what is it about this that you think it's going to change who you are? And I tell you, being prosperous in life has taken a number of risks for me. And in order to take risks, you have to be solid inside of yourself. You don't just sit on a couch eating bonbons and have millions of dollars show up in your life. You've got to take risks, I believe. In my world, in my paradigm, I have to take risks. The first risk I took was packing up my 3-year-old child and flying out to Eugene, Oregon, and not having anything. Not having anything, but I knew that I was willing to risk death rather than live the same life that I was living. I was willing to risk it all so that I didn't live the same life that I was living, because the life that I was living was killing me, because I wasn't me. And so I didn't know where I was going to live. I didn't know how I was going to work. I didn't know how I was going to feed my child. But I went out there and risked it and found my way. So when we moved up here, it wasn't all that scary. When I moved to Fort Lauderdale, it wasn't all that scary. When I moved from Fort Lauderdale to Miami, it wasn't all that scary. When we moved up here, it wasn't all that scary, because I had done it a number of times. I had left everything and went to where I believed things were going to be better, and I knew that I had within myself whatever inner strength or moxie or smarts or street smarts or whatever, that I was gonna be okay. And so I had that, and I think that is self-worth. I had that worth and value inside of myself that I would land on my feet and I would be able to make it wherever I was. And so every time I went through that, my prosperity raised up. The money in my life raised up. My sense of joy, my friendship, my happiness raised up because I was willing to take a growth step inside of me. So as you look at these ideas of what's going on with your self-worth, and you look at it in relationship to your money, then you're going to want to see what can you do to open up. You don't have to pack up everything and move across the country, but to open up and to do something different. Edwene says, how much good can you stand? And I would add, before you shut it down. How much good can you stand before you shut it down, and what is the trigger? Somebody goes out to lunch and they pick up the check. How do you feel about that?
Yeah. Beholden, really.
Beholden, because it's a power play. And those of you who are check picker-uppers, it's a power play. Not that you shouldn't pick up somebody's check, but if you feel beholden, then you have moved to a lesser power position because of the price of lunch, for the cost of a sandwich. We give up our power so easily. And if you are quick to grab, ha 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 ha, look at me, I got this, well, that's a power play. That's not coming from just a sense of love and joy. If it's coming from a sense of love and joy, it's, I'm gonna pay for this and I just want you to know how much I love and appreciate you. That's not a power play. And then if someone says, no, I'd really like to pay part of it, then you're able to go, well, okay, I would really like to pay for it, but if you want to pay for part of it, then I'm not going to stand in your way. There's no power plays going on. But if you feel at a lesser power position because someone else either has more money than you or someone else has the ability to do things that you don't do, then you haven't found the value inside of yourself to be able to land on your feet no matter what, even if someone grabs the check. Does that make sense? What other situations can trigger off a sense of less than?
Competition.
Competition. And either way, it works either way. If it's a win-lose, then you've already lost. So if you win, ha 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 ha, I won. No, you didn't, you lost. Because to go there is simply stating your lack of self. And if you are losing that, whatever it is, and you feel devastated and down and oh, I tried so hard and I lost, then your value is based on something outside of yourself that is supposedly gonna mark you as full when you've got the entire universe flowing out through you. You've got more than you could ever dream possible showing up in life, and we, like close our eyes and cinch down and say, it's not real, life is hard, there's not enough, and I'm not okay. And we are so amazingly powerful that we can do that. So we've got somebody paying for our lunch, competition, no matter which way we win. What about those of you who are currently working in this situation or used to? What about being around your boss? Does that trigger off self-worth for you?
What is it again?
Being around your boss. Oh, I'm going in for a review. Oh, I hope they find me worthy. I hope that I'm marked as okay with the great stamp of the corporation on me or the business or whatever. And when we do that, we have given our power away. And when we give our power away, we give our money away. There is nothing separate in the universe and beyond. So as we start looking at ourselves and look at the areas that we act out in a less than valuable way, then we can start to change that. Has anybody ever asked for a raise?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we've got mostly entrepreneurs here, not a lot of people are working for someone, but when you go in and ask for a raise, if that raise is denied, is it, they didn't give me the raise, I gotta get out of here, I gotta go find some place that respects me, I'm gonna do affirmations, I work in a place where I'm respected and honored, and all of that is a lack of self-worth. If we were to go in and ask for a raise, and the raise was not forthcoming, and we had the value inside of ourselves, we would be cool. We may work there, we may not work there, but it wouldn't be an attack on who we are as a person. We so easily let other people decide whether or not we are deserving of having and living the life that we want to have and live. You did all your vision boards last week. It's important to look at those vision boards as something that you already have, that life has already given you, that you already deserve. Not some pie in the sky picture that I cut out because it's a wild thing, I'll stretch, shoot for the stars, maybe you'll hit the moon. No, you already landed on the moon and you're gonna fly out to the stars. You've already gotten that. So as you look at that, just know how easy it is for life to show up, particularly for you. Particularly for you. One of my favorite books is This Thing Called You by Ernest Holmes. It's on my bedside table. And I love to read that because it tells me how amazing I am, how wonderful I am, how the entire universe comes together in concert and harmony as Barbara Waterhouse, and she just rocks it. And it's not that I have to try to or that I have to make it happen, it just is. I love that. You're a being of light. You come from the light. Be the light. It's not that I have to turn into the light. I'm already a being of light. I came out of light. I am light. All I have to do is be the light. One of my favorite quotes from Carl Rogers is, "Who you are is good enough if you would only be it openly." Which means stop hiding. Jesus said the same thing. Don't hide your light under a bushel. Stop hiding who you are. Let who you are be good enough no matter what's going on the outside, and watch how everything shifts. Because then you're vibrating at this frequency where I'm good. I'm good. I love me. I am so happy to be me. I'm sure you're happy to be you, and I love you, but I love me. I, honest to God, can look in the mirror and love me. I love the way that I look great at 66. I love the way that I'm healthy. I love the way that I'm doing what I want to do. I love the fact that you guys show up. This is fantastic that you show up for my class. I'm so happy about that. And I love me. And when I do that, everything opens up. When I'm all, oh, I don't know if I can do this. Gosh, this is a big deal. You know, we built the center. We've been here for 20 years. We're gonna have our 25th anniversary in July, in January. I think January 17th is a Friday night. Mark your calendars. We're gonna have a big gala here for our 25th anniversary. But when I look at other areas of my life, I can get caught in this, oh, I don't know if I can handle this. I don't know if I can do this. You know, we've got the stream bank out there, and John and I are determined not to incur more debt. We're doing our treatment for freedom every week. All debts paid and cleared. We are not going to incur more debt, and we're not going to keep eroding and polluting the Hominy Creek and the French Broad River. We're not going to do that. So what are we going to do? We're going to fix it, and we're going to manifest whatever funds are required to have that happen. That's what we're going to do. Oh, but Barbara, what if the funds are not forthcoming? We've already asked all of our members, and we've gotten a certain amount of money, but certainly not all of it. There are plenty of people out there saying, no, I'm not going to contribute to that stream bank. Let the parking lot fall. I had one member, let the parking lot fall in. You don't need to do that. I'm going, wow, and this person has means where they could easily pay for the whole thing. So, well, we've asked people, and they have, some of them have said yes and stretched and given, and others have said no, either by overtly or by just not answering the call. Well, how do I let that affect me? Do I go, oh, well, I guess that I don't have what it takes? You know, there are plenty of ministers out there that can generate millions and millions of dollars. Let's go add another wing. Let's build a gymnasium. Let's have a library. Let's start a university. I can create millions and millions and millions of dollars. So when I look at me and I sweat it on a stream bank repair, this is just maintenance and repairs. This is just fixing things. When I sweat it, I have to look at me and go, wow, what's going on with that? Is it gender? Because even though I look really good, I did grow up 66 years ago where being a woman in ministry was taboo. Is it the fact that you're a woman minister that makes you think that maybe when you ask, people won't respond? Is it that it's a construction site? And although RJ is the project manager, is it that that's a male kind of role? That it's, you know, heavy equipment and dirt and hydraulics and rocks and stuff. And maybe that's not where you should be. Now, I want you to know that I feel very confident that I am an amazing woman minister and that I can handle construction. I handled phase 1, I handled phase 2, I handled the house, and I can handle the stream bank. I can do that. But what is it that is subconsciously holding me back? And what came to me was, well, all you did was ask one group. That's it. So if you ask someone and they don't say yes, they haven't really said no, but they don't say yes, then it's time to ask someone else, and someone else, and someone else. And I go back to my childhood where I would knock on the doors, one after the other on the street that I lived in Miami. And I would knock on the door and just say, hi, my name is Barbara, and wait and see what happens. And some of them would say, get off my porch, you dirty little kid. And so I'd go to the next one, because I was locked out until my father came home from work. I had nothing else to do, and I would knock on the door. And sooner or later, someone would invite me in, give me a little cup of juice and a couple of cookies, and I figured I scored, man. That was great. I wrapped that. And then I would go on to the next house. And so that's something that I learned early on that I think helped me with my sense of self, not being devastated by anyone who is going to not be the way that I was hoping they would be, and find my way through life. So it's time to ask again. And that's why we're bringing the cameras in on Sunday, and we're going to film the B-roll of the sanctuary and everybody eating and all the camaraderie and the love and the joy and all of that here as we on Wednesday shoot John and my part of the video for the big ask on our website of the money to repair the stream bank. And all we have to do is keep on going and not let what's happening in life knock us down. Sometimes that's the risk, is to get up again. And we may be knocked down again, but then we take the risk and we get back up again. And I guarantee you, if you get up enough times, you're going to find that things work out. So in my experience of looking inside of myself, what I have found is that even now, 40 some odd years later, I still have the old residue of good girls don't ask. Good girls don't take out the last cookie. Women don't do that. And I want you to just check yourself out and see if you have any of that going on inside of you. Because sure, we like to just, go sit on the couch and let everything unfold wonderfully in our life. I want to be able to do my increased income affirmation and just have the money pour into my life without me having to change. But what I've found in life is that I very much have to change, and that I can correlate the amount of money that I have in my bank account, in my stock portfolio, in my precious metals, in my assets, all of that, which I have now, that I can correlate that with how much self-worth I have. And if I'm finding any of that lacking, or if I'm thinking that someone or something is going to make me feel better about myself, then I need to look at that and change it. There's nobody that has your good. Nobody can give it to you. Even if you come to Center for Spiritual Living and everybody tells you how wonderful you are, that will not give you your good. You have to take that and have it inside of you. Because there are plenty of people who walk in these doors and we tell them how wonderful they are and they run for the hills. Some of them come back 10 years later. Yes. So nobody has our good. Nobody can give us anything that will, on a sustained level, make us feel more valuable inside of our own skin. We can have it for a little while. And that's why I think sometimes people love to quote unquote fall in love. They love to have that experience and get all these rushes of endorphins and enkephalins, and they're falling in lust, you know, and they're having this wonderful time, but then it crashes and burns because it's not integrated as part of who we are. So in order to have more prosperity in our lives and more money in our lives, we have to have more value inside of ourselves. And when you have more value inside of yourself, you're not knocked off center so easily. When you have more value inside of yourself, it's easier to be generous. Have you ever had experiences where you're just truly generous? You don't have any strings attached. You're not trying to con anybody. You're just giving out of the fullness of who you are. That comes from the fact that you have a fullness inside of you. You have value inside of you, and so you have an abundance that you can give out. Have you ever had an opportunity where someone asked you for something and it was like, oh no, you're not going to get that from me. I've got to hold on to it really tight. I mean, I've seen people who somebody asks them for a ride home. It's like, oh no, I'm not going to do that. You're not going to con me into that. And I go, boy, what a poor life that person is living. What a poor life to feel like a simple situation, whether it's the price of some groceries. Do you know that did they raise the price of that? Do you know the price of gas went up and they're trying to take it from me? When do you think they're trying to take it from me? You know you do. They're trying to take it from me. That comes from the fact that you don't have it inside of you. You don't have the solidness inside of you. You can choose to buy something or not, as long as you're solid inside of yourself. As long as you're clear about the value that you have, you choose to buy it, you choose not to buy it. We encourage people with children never to tell them that you can't afford it. Don't cop out. You could afford it if you wanted to. You're not going to buy it for the little rugrat. Be honest and say, no, I don't choose to spend my money on that. That's a valid thing for someone to say. If someone asks you to do something, come on a cruise with me, share a beach house, you know, it's going to cost you X number of thousands of dollars and you just don't want to do it, it's okay to say, no, I don't choose to do that. It's my choice. I'm clear about who I am. I could do it if I wanted to. It's not a poverty statement. I don't choose to do it. I had someone come through this center like 15 years ago, and they came up to see me, and they were complaining that they practiced all of the principles of prosperity that we teach, and now they're $40,000 in debt. And I said, well, how did you practice the principles of prosperity? Well, I bought whatever I wanted and I put it on my charge card. So do you see how that doesn't come from a sense of self-worth, of strength, and of clarity? It's trying to grab something that will make me feel better, coming from a sense of lack to where I have to put it on a charge card until I have no more charge card room, and now I want to blame Barbara Waterhouse and the teachings of Center for Spiritual Living. It comes from a misunderstanding of who we are. If we are the point of creation, if we are that energy that brings all things into form, then as we are clearer and clearer and clearer about who we are, we can touch anything and manifest it. That's who we are. That's what we are. And if we are not touching things and manifesting them, then what is it that's blocking us? We can chase after money all we want, and we can run after words like prosperity and abundance all we want, but if we don't have self-worth, it's not going to last, and it's not going to uplift us. It's not going to be an uplifting experience in the world. I love how we give. on our affirmation on Sunday, I give from the fullness and wholeness of my overflowing wealth. That's where I'm giving from. I'm not giving, and you can do this in metaphysics, I'm not giving from the work a deal, well, I'm gonna set spiritual law in motion, and I'm gonna give out this much, and it better give me that much. You see how that's a lower level creation? Then I am so rich and so full that I have an abundance of money to spare and to share today and always, and I give from my overflowing wealth out to do good in the world. Because I know that no matter how much I give away, I always have more, because the moreness starts inside of me. And then when you do that, all of the little miracles or the big miracles happen on the outside. And if we are not having miracles on the outside, it is because we don't have that value and worth within us. So it's important for us to look inside of ourselves, and don't be afraid to go back to your family of origin and, you know, look at what stories were told to you about money. Money doesn't grow on trees. We don't have enough money. There's never enough money. There's never enough time. There's never enough opportunity. There's never enough energy. If we get into those, there's never enough, that's an important thing to look at and to start to change. And one of the ways to change that is to start looking at what you do have enough of. Because I was really good, and we are really powerful creators. We can, in an amazingly abundant universe, demonstrate lack and limitation. We're so powerful. It's like standing in the full blaze and glory of spirit and going, oh no, it's not that, it's not that. And so for us, we're in darkness, even though there's all of this light. We can stand in the infinite flow of blessings and goodness and insist on creating a reality that says, I don't have enough. I don't have a place to live. I don't have a car. I don't have a job. I don't have any friends. I don't have anything. And we can create that if we want, because we are so amazingly powerful. So one of the ways that I look at things is, what do I have going on? What do I have more than enough of? What do I have more than enough of? Give me some things that you have more than enough of.
Creativity.
Time, creativity,
Friends.
love, food. If you start looking even just a little bit of what you do have, then all of those old lies about what you don't have tend to fade. And look at the way that you pressure yourself to try to be who you think you should be. Remember Carl Rogers, who you are is good enough if you would only be it openly. Well, I think if I do this, then I'll either be a better person or I'll be more spiritual, as if you can ever be more spiritual. You are spirit itself. I think that people will like me if I do this, so I'll make sure that I'm doing something that I don't want to do so that people will like me, so I'll feel good about myself. All of that is craziness. It's craziness that defeats our experience of who we are. We look at ourselves and go, what am I doing? One question to ask that's really good is, when have I felt this way before? When I remember when I finally could afford a bank account, I would bounce checks like crazy because I never would balance the account. It was that mindset of, how can I be out of money? I have checks. And half the time when I'm writing the check, I'm just hoping that it passes. I'm hoping they take it, you know, and then I would bounce checks. And I finally got to where, when have I felt this way before? Well, I've felt this way for years, that I'm going to be found out and I'm going to be found lacking. That this is a symbol of a check that bounces, but really it's that I bounced because I didn't have what I said I had. So great, that's wonderful. Where in my life am I creating a feeling that I don't have what I'm telling the world that I have? And that can come from pretending to be someone that you're not. It can come from feeling like even though you have it, you won't allow yourself to feel it. I know people who are geniuses in artistry. It's like, this is amazing that you can do this. Oh, no, it's not. I don't have it. And so there's that discount. Someone's saying, oh, that's such a beautiful tie-dye shirt, that's so beautiful. No, I don't wanna have it, that's not good. See, when we do that, what we're doing is we're pushing ourselves down so that we can hopefully try to control the circumstances around us and have us not be hurt. We would rather be small and pathetic than be out there and be hurt. And I found that I'd rather be out there and have people try to hurt me and me realize they can't hurt me than to be small and pathetic. Small and pathetic doesn't work, plus you're poor if you're small and pathetic. Even if you have lots of money, you're poor. You're poor in your life, you're poor in your sense of self, you're poor in your experience of what's going on. And so what we want to do is we want to look at ourselves and go, when have I felt this before? Where might it have come from? And how can I change it? And if I can change it, even just a little bit, it's like cracking the door. It's like being in a dark room and you crack the door and the light's on in the other room. You don't have to do more than crack it. You don't have to swing wide the doors. You just crack it and the light comes pouring in. So all you have to do sometimes is just be a little honest with yourself and say, you know, I really don't want to do that. I know I said I was going to do that, and it's not that I'm not being impeccable with my word. I'm renegotiating my agreement. I don't want to do it. I agreed to that out of a false premise of who I thought I was and that I needed this and I needed you to approve of me by doing this, and now I've seen the light of day and I don't want to do it. That takes strength. It takes value inside of yourself. People who have self-worth don't sell themselves down the river for approval from other people. People who have self-worth have the ability to change their mind. One of my favorite Barbara Waterhouse quotes is, your yeses mean nothing if you cannot say no. Think about that. Your yeses mean nothing if you cannot say no, because then you're just a yes person. Yes person, yes, oh, you want me to do that? Okay, I'll do that. This needs to happen? Okay, I'll do that. Oh, you want me to go over here and drive 10 hours and pick up your cousin's cat? Okay, I'll do that. We do crazy things. You want me to marry you? Okay, I'll do that. You know, we do some crazy things because we can't say no, because we don't feel like we have the value within ourselves to be able to set boundaries and limitations, because or limits, not limitations, limits, because we don't feel that who we are all by ourselves with none of that other stuff is ever going to be enough to carry us through life. And sometimes the risk is letting ourselves just stand on our own 2 feet and risking falling flat on our face. Risking somebody saying, well, I don't want to be your friend anymore if you won't, just kowtow to my every whim. Yay! Some people bless us by coming and some by leaving. So when we can allow ourselves to look at ourselves honestly, to look at how we value ourselves, to look at what we say to ourselves in the mirror, to look at what we say to ourselves inside of our heads, and to start shifting that, and to build ourselves up instead of knocking ourselves down. Does anybody have an inner critic? I want you to know your inner critic is costing you a lot of money. It's costing you a lot of money, and you may want to consider firing it. And you may have to fire it over and over and over again. Start listening to what is being said inside of your head. And if it's anything other than, you are an amazing being of light and love, you are genius, you are fantastic, you have the power of the entire universe at your beck and call, you command the very molecules into existence. If it's anything less than that, consider firing that person and hiring your internal Barbara Waterhouse. Because I will tell you that. I will tell you this. Consider listening to every word that comes out of your mouth. And if it is either demeaning to someone else, which is just a reflection of you, or demeaning to yourself, consider shifting that. And it doesn't have to be a giant shift, just a little crack. Because until you get your self-worth coming into alignment, you don't have to be all enlightened for this, but people, they chase after money. And they chase after money while they're beating themselves up the entire way, and then they wonder why they never catch it. Instead of stopping and looking clearly at ourselves and seeing that we are the point of creation of all life. It is who we are and what we are right now. We don't have to get it. We don't have to buy it. We don't have to negotiate for it. We don't have to run ourselves ragged for it. Sometimes it's don't just do something, sit there. Sometimes it's just stop, wait, think about what's going on. Why am I feeling frustrated? Why am I feeling upset? Why am I not totally in my joy? What's going on? What am I doing to set myself up? And you will start seeing how the dominoes have fallen all the way through your life to put you in a position where you don't get to be prosperous and rich. And it's really important to start changing that internal self-talk. And if I'm saying it to somebody else, it's still being told to me. I can't criticize someone else. I can't put someone else down and not put myself down. That's where it's coming from. So to be able to look at myself, some people don't like the way that I see myself. They call me the woman with the big hair and the big mouth. Some people think that my ego is out of control. And I want you to know that my ego has been brought into alignment to support me in my life. That I am not thinking that I'm better than anybody else, but there's no way I'm going back to being less than anybody else. I will not let it happen. And if it does start to come up, then I will find ways to knock on the next door and the next door and the next door until finally the door is open because I've gotten myself clear inside of me, and whatever it is I'm choosing to focus on creating happens. And until then, I refuse to put myself down or hold myself back because of some internal idealized image that says, oh, Barbara, you should have it all together by now. You should just be able to go like that and manifest the plane, the sailboat. No. I met someone from the center who's got a sailboat. It's parked down in Miami, and they're going off to the Caribbean for 3 weeks. And I'm like, you can do that? So I'm not going to put myself down for not having demonstrated that yet. I'm going to realize that there is a light and a fire inside of me that is doing just fine. It is my job not to try to extinguish it. Not that I ever can, but sometimes we can beat ourselves up to a pulp, and somehow people think that it's being spiritual to do that. That is the crazy stuff. Oh, no pain, no gain. You know, it's darkness before the dawn, so celebrate the darkness. No, the universe delights in supporting each and every one of us. For that matter, it has already supported us. We are already in the life that is the life of our dreams. We've got our eyes closed. And so it's our job not to chase after it, not to think that, well, it's going to take 5 years, I'm on the 5-year plan, I don't like goals, I don't like any of that stuff. It is either here and now or it never is. And I am at peace with whatever time element I am having to have that demonstration show up in time and space. I don't have to beat myself up or put myself down for that. That is called growing self-worth. You can save yourselves a lot of years of therapy to watch yourself, to look at how have you set yourself up to have a story that says, I don't get to be happy, I don't get to be in my joy, I don't get to have it all. Well, how can you have it all? How can you have the best day ever? You know, when we started that, people got really mad. Today is the best day ever. You can't have the best day ever every day. And I went, why not?
Why not?
Why not? People got mad. People get mad for such little things, and then they leave, and then they're talking out there about Center for Spiritual Living after they think they have the best day ever. They just, all they care about is money. I gotta be willing to take those shots, because I don't care. You know, you can talk about me all you want. There are people out in Asheville right now talking about me. I don't care. I don't care. Because I know who I am. I know that there is no place else I would rather be, that there is nothing else I would rather do, and there certainly is no one else that I would rather be than me. And that's where we want to get. And when you get there, money starts happening. And we're going to talk about that after the break. So welcome back, welcome back. We've been talking about self-worth. What did you learn from our conversation about self-worth?
You are in charge of your self-worth.
You're in charge of your self-worth, yes. What else?
My inner critic is costing me a lot of money.
Your inner critic has costed you a lot of money.
When we give away our power, we give away our money.
When we give away our power, we're giving away our money.
My
Really?
opinion of myself is the only opinion that matters.
Your own opinion of yourself is the only opinion that matters, really. Sometimes it's not that easy to believe all of that when our emotions are triggered off, but it's very important that we move in that direction. And if you do, I swear you will have more money. I guarantee it, you will have more money. If you have a greater appreciation for who you are, a greater sense of the amazing being that you are, you will have more money because you are more in alignment with the greater good of life and the ever-expanding energy of life. You're more in alignment with that instead of being all shut down, beating yourself up, telling yourself you can't, you shouldn't, and it'll never happen. So as you open up to who you are, then life opens up and pours into your life, comes through you, shows up, however you want to describe it. So we're going to talk about money. And I want you to know that I have studied money for a long time. I studied money as something that I would try to get, and I studied money with something that I would try to trust. And learning to trust my money was a big deal. Because if I'm coming from a sense of a lack of self-worth, I'm not trusting anybody. I'm not trusting anything. I'm worried, I'm focusing on what I don't have, I'm telling myself stories about how I'll never have money, and this person has money, and maybe I can try to con them out of it, or steal it, or whatever. I'm not trusting that flow because I'm not trusting me. It's difficult to trust yourself if you don't have a sense of self. If you continue to try to change yourself to be who you think you should be or someone else might want you to be, then you don't have a self, so how can you trust it? And if you don't trust yourself, how can you trust anything? So developing this sense of self, this sense of value, this sense of worth. Remember, who you are is good enough if you would only be it openly. This is such an important concept, that who you are is spirit in form as you. You don't have to try to be the other flower or the other moonbeam or the other drop in the ocean. You are you. You are uniquely you, and who you are is good enough, and that's even a lowest common denominator thing. Who you are rocks. Who you are is fantastic. You have the entire universe coming together to support you and you and you. You have the entire universe coming together at the point of you to support you in being who you uniquely are. So when you discount yourself, when you try to make yourself somebody that you're not, you're going to set yourself up to cut yourself off from yourself, and then it's all, squirrely-eyed. Oh my God, what do I need to watch out for? And when's the other shoe going to drop? Because I'm just depending on how I can manipulate and control my outside circumstances so that I'm safe. And because we're coming from a place of not being safe, we're never going to be safe. We're always going to create the other shoe dropping and things happening outside of our control, not realizing that it was us that created that to begin with. So to go back, don't just do something, sit there. To feel into yourself, to find something that you really like about yourself, and to build on that is going to give you that point to match money. If you don't have any money in your life, it's because you're not matching your money. Not that the money's not there. The money's there going, I'm pushing myself on you. And if we are not matching money, we're going, no, 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 I don't deserve it, I shouldn't have it, it's impossible. and we don't get the money that is right here for us. One of the ways that I learned to trust, and I always teach this in all of my classes, is to learn to tithe. Tithing was at one point easy and at one point very difficult for me. When I learned to tithe, I had 37 cents to my name, a 3-year-old, and no way to get home. And I had someone say, if you think you can't afford to tithe, you can't afford not to. And so at that point, I said, well, it's only 37 cents. It's not gonna break the bank. There's no bank to break. I'm gonna give it and see what happens. That wasn't the difficult part. The difficult part was when I was on welfare to take 10% of that check when I knew I needed way more than that amount of money just to survive for the month and give 10% of it. The difficult part was to take the food stamps that I had, and at that time it was a little book, and tear out the pages that was 10% of the food for me and my child and give it away. The trick was, as I got more money, to continue to tithe 10% of that. And I knew that I had to do that because I knew that my world was terrifying. There were people that had money and they were aliens to me. They were the other. Being raised in a lot of poverty as a child, the neighbors around us that were, like had food and stuff like that, were other than us. And they would make that very clear because I was never allowed to cross the barrier between my yard and theirs. So moving into this idea that says I can bridge that, because if I stay the way that I am, I might as well blow my brains out because this is just a crazy way to live. So I'm going to risk, and this is why I tell you that you've got to risk every so often. You've got to risk letting go of who you think you should be to be who you truly are. And I guarantee you, who you are is way better than who you think you should be. Who you are is amazing. So I was willing to risk giving that money out so that I could see if this thing works. And the wonderful part about it is it does work. It took me 3 months after I started tithing, when I was dirt poor, to have an apartment, a car, and a job. And those are no small tasks. It took me 3 months of giving away 37 cents and then starting to tithe on welfare and food stamps before I had landed an apartment, a car, and a job. So from where I was to that level was huge, and it continues to go. The more that I write out tithe checks, and they get bigger and bigger and bigger, the more that I write them out, the more solid I am. I don't give with fear anymore, and I don't give to try to get. I give because I am in the flow of giving in life, and I know beyond a shadow of a doubt that life is going to support me, and that it's going to support me by means of money. Because what I'm giving out is money. I never look to see if I'm going to get back from this person what I gave, because if I'm giving out into the universe, then I may get back from this person. There have been times in my ministry when I've taken people to the grocery store and bought them groceries because I knew that they hadn't eaten in a few days and they didn't have anything. And so I don't get all, well, you should have listened to me when I told you that tithing was the way to go. I don't do that. I go over, I pick them up, I take them to the store, and I buy them what they need. And I don't do it to try to get back, where's that tenfold return gonna come? Because I don't need it to be that cut and dry. What I know is that who I am will always have more than enough. Because who I am is amazing. Who I am commands all of the power of creation inside of me. But I had to go through all of that fear to be able to create money in my life. And I had so much stuff on money. I had stuff from not eating as a child, being neglected as a child. I had stuff from my parents fighting about money, my father not working for a few years. I'm not exactly sure what all of that was about, but there was just nothing, and there wasn't welfare back then. There wasn't food stamps back then. We were just poor. There were times when my mother told me that we had eaten when we hadn't eaten. You know, what do you do when you've got 4 kids and you don't have any food? You tell them that they ate and send them to bed. So I had all kinds of stuff about there not being enough, about not being safe in life. What I want you to do is look at your relationship with money and see how it triggers into your self-worth. If you have an opportunity to spend money, how do you feel about that? Do you feel like you're spending the money and there's always more than enough? Do you feel like, oh my God, that means that there's $500 less in my checking account and I'm not sure when it's going to come back? You know, how do you feel when you spend money? How do you feel when you pay your bills? Do you feel like, oh, these dirty, rotten rack and fratchet, they raised the price of cable and now I'm $20 less? If you do that, you're coming from a lack of self-worth projected onto others that you think can take anything away from you. No one can take anything away from you. What was it? Nobody can add one cubit to your stature. No one can take anything away from you. It's all the same thing. Who you are inside of yourself will more than open the doorways to have money and abundance and prosperity, love, health, joy, friends, laughter, good food, good times, all of the good things in life. Who you are is more than what is required for you to have the life of your wildest dreams. If you would only embrace that, if you would only get to know that part of you, if you would only build on that instead of letting the internal critic beat you to a pulp and tell you that you shouldn't, that you can't, that you mustn't, that it's impossible. Nothing is impossible. Absolutely nothing is impossible. And you don't have to be anything other than who you are to live the amazing life. What I have learned is that I have to be in good relations with money for me to have an abundance of money. I learned early on in this teaching how to get by with money, how to demonstrate just enough to pay the rent at the last minute, how to be able to create a sale so that I didn't have to spend all of my money on something. And all of that is well and good, but I have to have more trust of that flow of life. And that, not that there's something outside of me that's going to give to me, but that I already have more than I could ever possibly want in life. I already have it. The flower outside already has more sunshine than it could ever use. You already have more money than you could ever spend. What we look at is where is the door between us and that good, and how open or how closed is it? When it's closed, I'm feeling small. When it's closed, I'm feeling scared. And when it's open, I'm feeling confident and strong and big. And I find that the spiritual practice of tithing is very helpful to me to create that sense of solidness inside of me. To over and over and over again, put it out there and watch how I have enough. Put it out there and watch how I have enough. To where the fear that I'm not going to have enough vanishes because I've proven it over and over and over again. And I don't play games with tithing. I don't tithe on my net. I tithe on my gross. I drive John crazy because I will tithe on money twice. I'll tithe on it first when something happens. Let's say that we tithe on it and then we invest it in something and then we get that principal back. I'll tithe on it again. He'll go, you tithed on that before. That's already tithed on. No. I'm in the now moment. I'm going to tithe on it. If it hits my hand, I'm going to tithe on it. Because I know as soon as I go to, oh, I shouldn't, I've moved into the universe of lack. And I will create lack in my life because I am so powerful. So I tithe on everything, no matter what. We tithe on the money that's been donated to fix the stream bank. You give $1,000, $5,000, we cough up, quote unquote, the $100 or the $500 tithe out of cash flow, unless you, like Margot, give us the tithe on that, and we tithe on that. And we had big discussions on that. Well, that's designated giving. We can't take that money because it's designated to the stream bank restoration. We can't take 10% of that and tithe on it. That's against the law. We had many board meetings, or one big board meeting where we talked about that and said, how are we going to handle our commitment to tithe? And we all unanimously agreed that we are going to take that money out of cash flow and tithe, which will mean we will have spent $16,500 out of cash flow as the tithe on that stream bank. Because I know that if we move into the universe that says, oh, that money's designated, we can't touch it, and we don't have the tithe here, we always take the money out of the tithe out of the gift, and this is crazy, we'll have to take money right out of cash flow. If we move into that, we're not gonna have any money. And so my commitment is to tithe no matter what. And when I do that, the universe shows up. Because I'm solid and I'm strong and I'm big and I'm clear. And I know that I deserve to have my life the way that I want it to be. I know that the universe delights in supporting my every whim. I know that who I am is amazing. I know that I command all of the power of creation within me for my world, and so do you. And I know that, and then I set it in motion. I don't just talk about it. I don't just hope that it's going to happen. I set it in motion so that whatever is coming into my life, I am giving it back out again. I'm not giving it out to work a deal. The universe isn't a deal worker. The universe is a flow. And so maybe it'll show up in a big way. Maybe it'll show up in a little way. Maybe I won't even notice its return at all. I'm still going to do that. I'm going to take whatever I have, whatever we have, and I'm going to take 10% of it and set it out into the universe. And my teacher always taught me to tithe where I'm spiritually fed. So personally, John and I tithe here. But people tithe all kinds of places. People split their tithe up. People tithe to authors and teachers and different centers that they may go to, anything like that. It is not my job at all to care about where your tithe goes. It is my job to teach you to take 10% of all of your money and tithe on it. And make sure that you're sending it out into the universe as your statement that I am supported by life. I always have more than enough. Money is good in my life. It grows and expands, and I get to have the life of my dreams, and I'm willing to put my money where my mouth is and move forward in that. I don't know of any single spiritual practice that has helped me more. Not even spiritual mind treatment. The act of tithing has helped me, the poor kid, the poverty kid, the kid who was so insecure. I mean, when I was a kid, people used to say, you have an inferiority complex. I was awful. I was a little mouse in the corner. I was dirty. I stunk. People wouldn't let me play with their kids. I felt terrible about who I was. And I pulled myself out of that through this teaching, a lot of self-reflection, and the spiritual act of tithing, which scared the pants off of me. I didn't have enough food to feed my child, and I'm giving it away. You know, and I later learned that they took those food stamp things and just threw them away, come in a Sunday basket, and they just threw them away. And I'm going, oh, you don't know how much that meant to me to give those, but I gave it for me, not for them. When I give money away, when I send out tithes, it's not my job to care what happens to it. It's my job to be in that flow, because then I am so clear about who I am. I'm so clear about my power and my strength, and I'm so clear that I live in a friendly universe that supports me, that I don't ever have to worry about things hurting me or taking things from me or me losing anything. None of that is real. The only thing that is real is that we are spiritual beings alive and well on planet Earth. And when we have our relationship with money based in trust, money, if you want to use dualistic languaging, money races to us. Emerson said, "Hast not enough, lo, thy good rushes to meet thee." You know, when we're clear, when we've got our heads screwed on straight, money shows up from all kinds of different places, different avenues, different venues, and rushes into our lives. And this whole idea about, well, I've already got it all figured out because I'm so insecure that I have a deep need to control, and I'm only gonna get this amount of money from these places. That's so limiting. There's no trust in there. There's no faith in there. Money can come in from all kinds of places, all kinds of directions. If we are allowing ourselves to have the value that we deserve to have money. We deserve to have lots of money. We deserve to have money. I do this in the prosperity class. I encourage you to get money. Get a bunch of $1 bills if you need to. I personally like to collect hundreds. But carry it around with you. Put it in your bed, sleep with it, feel it. You deserve to have money. And I think that I don't know how to handle the younger generation that doesn't deal with cash, because my generation was so cash oriented that when I pick up a bunch of $100 bills, I know what that is. So I have a debit card, but I don't know that I've ever used it. And so all I can do is teach you what I know, to have money. And it doesn't matter to your subconscious whether they're $100 bills or $1 bills. If you're gonna get $1 bills, make sure that you explain to the bank teller that you want them, they're a gift to you, and you want new ones, you want clean ones, and get a bunch of money. And then carry it around with you. Stuff it in your cup holder in your car. Put it in your bed. Have it around. Have stacks of money around, and that implants into your subjective mind that money is a natural thing in your life. I took the bank statements and put white out on them, and put 000 on the banknote, and put paid in full on it. I did that for this building, and we refinanced. It wasn't really quite what I had envisioned, but I still had that note that was zeroed out and paid in full. So all of these things you can do to establish that relationship with money. And as you have more money in your life, spend it. Spend it. Not in a controlling way, not in a manipulative way, but if you've got the money, buy somebody's lunch. If you've got the money and you're walking down Biltmore Avenue and the parking meter's expired and the meter maid is behind you, put some money in the parking meter.
Oh, I'd love to do that.
Yeah, the meter people don't like it. Put some money in the parking meter. If somebody's selling lemonade, oh my gosh, get a cup of lemonade that may be horrible and you throw out when you're out of sight, but then give them $5, give them $10. Tell them how great it is. You love their entrepreneurial spirit. You know that there's nothing that they can't do. The sky's the limit for you, kid. And what did it cost you? $10. Not even the price of a movie, and you got all of this good energy of I am rich. I can be a philanthropist. I can give money to causes that I love. I can donate because I have money. I am clear about my relationship with money, and money loves me. It's a lovely relationship. It is. I love money and money loves me, and as it shows up in my life, I enjoy it, I spend it, I buy what I want to buy. You know, John and I are on an 8-week cycle of going down to the beach. We fly down there, we rent a condo, we've got all of our stuff in storage, we pull it all out, we go out to eat, we go to the beach, we go shopping. We do that, we spend our money. We don't spend all of our money, because that would be neurotic. We have investments, we have IRAs, we have precious metals that we own, we have real estate. We have a good relationship with money, but it didn't just happen. I had to learn to trust money. And to trust money, I had to trust myself. And I had to stop holding on to it out of fear. Well, I don't know if I can do that, because I may not have any more. Of course you're gonna have more. It's like saying, I don't know if I can exhale, because I may not have any more air. There's always more there. There's always more money. There's always more flow. It's our job to open up to that and to be solid about who we are. And then we can move into that greater idea of prosperity. And I think the important thing about prosperity is, how do you feel? How much joy is in your life? Do you have friends? Do you have fun in life? Do you go where you wanna go? Do you do stuff? Is your life fulfilling? Are you able to expand in who you are? And a lot of people think that you need money to do that. You don't. You don't. Oh, I can't do that because I don't have any money. Well, that's a very limited way to see the world. I'm sure that you could figure out a way to do it. Whatever it is, if you really want to do it. Oh, well, I shouldn't. Now, that's a whole different thing. I shouldn't buy that expensive makeup. My gosh, they want $50 for a tube of face cream. Oh my gosh, no, buy it. Buy it. Because if you say, I want it, it's important that you want it. You want it for you. You don't want it to impress somebody. You don't want it because you're trying to be somebody, you're trying to be your mother or something like that. But if you want it and you tell yourself no, that you're not gonna have it because you don't have the money, you will lose the $50. Because you've established it in consciousness that you don't get to have what you want. And my guess is you're gonna lose a lot more than $50. So trust that you can do something. You can go to the movies, you can go out to eat. Don't buy off the restaurant menu based on price. What's the cheapest thing I can get? Don't do that. Get what you wanna get. You may go get hit by a truck on the way out of the restaurant. Get what you wanna get. Well, I really like this certain brand of something, then get it. You know, don't get the cheapest paper towels that rip in half. Get what you wanna get. Live like you wanna live. Be who you wanna be. Have some fun in life. Money is not worth anything if you're not enjoying it. You know, then you're just the rich old Scrooge. You don't wanna do that. You wanna trust. You're trusting yourself, you're trusting life, you're trusting your money, and you're able to move out and live a prosperous, joy-filled life. I know that true prosperity includes perfect health, perfect wealth, and perfect happiness. Why does true prosperity include perfect health? What does poverty do to your health?
Makes you sick.
It makes you sick. Because you're constricted. You're afraid. You're holding on. You're looking at all the doom and gloom. And your body listens to that. Go out and have some fun. Do something wild and crazy. We actually had a center party many years ago when someone lived on the golf course, and everybody, I wasn't there, but I heard all about it. And they all stripped buck naked and went running through the golf course. And they had a wonderful time. You know? Pardon me?
It doesn't necessarily sound like my idea.
No, but it was their idea of fun, and they had a great time. So do something wild and crazy. Do something that's like, oh, should you do that? Can you do that? The answer is yes. If you want to do it, you should do it. You can do it, and hold the consciousness that you're safe, and no one will ever find out, except for maybe me. Then I'll tell you.
There you go.
I believe that people every day should laugh. Deep belly laughs. I've seen laughter cure cancer. Belly laughs. I think that people should have friends. And they should have that connection to each other. I believe that when you awaken in the morning, it should be a wonderful experience of all of the possibilities of life. And I believe that we are too far advanced to allow ourselves to be run by fear and worry. And that if we are still playing that low-level game, we need to spiritually grow up and do whatever it takes to change the way we feel inside of ourselves to be able to live a life of trust and faith and connection and joy. And we've got that in us. We've got it in us right now. And then you see through the eyes of prosperity, and everything starts to look good. You're not looking at, oh, that's an old backpack that I have. No, I love this backpack. It's wonderful. One of the things that I learned when I was in Fort Lauderdale doing my taking classes is that I would walk the docks on the Intercoastal. They've got the really big boats there. And sometimes people would be on the boats, and I would say hello to them, and I noticed that they would come out with old cut-off jeans, a ratty t-shirt, and a pair of thongs, you know, the rubber flip-flops, not Tevas or anything fancy. And they're the ones with the money. And so I started looking around going, there's no difference between them and me, because at that time I had a pair of rubber thongs, old cut-offs, and a ratty t-shirt on. That's what I was wearing. I was them now. And so I would start looking at things and appreciate what's there. I would start looking at things that I had, instead of thinking, oh, you're dressed horribly. It's like, no, I've got my rich person's clothes on now. I've got my money clothes on now. It's called an old tank top and cut-offs and a pair of flip-flops. And I would start to appreciate things, and I would start to enjoy them instead of comparing them to what I didn't have. Well, I've got a car that, you know, I need to pray over before I turn the key, and I did. And I would treat that car, and I would turn the key, and it would start. And so rather than saying, oh, I wish I had that car, I would appreciate the car that I had. I appreciated the clothes that I had. I appreciated the body that I had. I appreciated the center that I was a part of. I appreciated my friends. I appreciated that even when I didn't know how much money I was going to have to eat at the end of the month, I would still go out after class with everybody, and I would eat. And for me, that was a leap of faith, to be able to say, no, I have enough money to be with my friends, and I can feed my body, and I can have some fun. And so in all of this big internal psychological work and evaluation of yourself and changing the way that you experience yourself, in all of this practice of being good with money, of being in that flow of trusting and having faith in life, I want you to have fun. This is not supposed to be a lot of work. I really believe that before we incarnated, we won the jackpot, and that life on planet Earth was the gift. It was the prize. There are other realms that we could be in that we don't have touch. You know, the room is filled with beings right now. They don't have touch. So we have touch. So touch. There are other realms that don't have taste. We have taste. Taste. Don't deny yourself. I've had a lot of people come through this center that have had a lot of judgments on what they should and should not eat. And percentage-wise, far too many of those people ended up very ill. And I believe that it was the mindset that says there is bad food out there, and I can't let it come into me because I'm not strong enough to eat that bad food. And that wears on your body. And so, taste, you don't have to eat a gallon of ice cream, but yeah, you can have an ice cream cone if that's what you want. If you want to eat a gallon of ice cream, eat a gallon of ice cream. But if there's something that you want, don't tell yourself no. For me, prosperity is not about saying, I can't. It's like the child. I don't choose to is a perfectly valid answer. Oh, I really wish that, I really want that giant slice of chocolate cake. Well, be reasonable in your head. If you do, eat it. If you really don't want it, then choose not to eat it. If it's right before you're going to eat a meal, you may want to have it for later so that you can eat. But everybody's body is up to them. What I have found is that people that I've known and loved have transitioned through usually some kind of cancer, and they had a phobia, often of food. There was good food and bad food. So I've adopted the idea that everything is spirit, everything is God, and all food is good. All food is good. Yes. Things are extra good. I will transition into a realm that at least for some experience or period of time, there will not be taste. So I want to get all the taste in that I can. I want to get all the touch in I can. I want to get all of the vision in that I can. I don't know if there's colors on the other side. But if there's not, this is our chance for colors. We already won it. We already got the prize. Enjoy the colors. The leaves are about to change. And yes, the drought has assured us that we are going to have amazing foliage this month. Enjoy it. All of the projections are is that we are going to have a stellar year of leaves.
Hold that thought.
Yes, yes. And so enjoy the leaves. I love sunrises and sunsets. Enjoy them. I love the color of John's eyes. Enjoy them. You know, enjoy music. Go dancing at that new dance place downstairs. Dance in the kitchen while you're cooking. Sing in the shower while you're bathing. Live life. For me, that's what prosperity is. It's living life. And living life fully and completely, always knowing that you have more than enough to do whatever it is you want to do. And then go ahead and do it. And what you will find is that you live the best life ever. That money is always there, that you're always feeling good about who you are, and because of that, you can feel good about everybody else in your life. And that the universe rushes in to fill your every desire. Because that's what's really going on. What's really going on is that we are points of expression of God itself. We are amazing, magnificent, glorious, powerful, spiritual beings alive and well on planet Earth. And most of us are pretending that we're not. We're pretending that we're mere humans. That I'm me and you are you. We're not. The enlightened ones, they know. They sit around and just giggle all day. Because it's great. That's our job. To know our own value, our own self, to create money, because we live in a culture of money, a culture that uses money, and to demonstrate prosperity in every moment of our lives. That is your assignment for the rest of your life. And I love you.
Yay.
Do you have any questions or comments before we close? Okay, take out what you're gonna give. What I know is that God is the source of everything. This unformed substance, this creative force, this energy that expands in the absolute, infinite, always expanding. And I know that whatever that is what we are. We are the points of the infinite self-expression of the divine as us. We are already filled full to overflowing. We are already perfect, whole, and complete. And I know that we live our lives from this point of fullness. That Spirit is alive and well as each of us, right here and right now. I know that we open to that experience of accepting all of the good in our lives, ever expanding in greater and greater amounts from different places, always showing up. I know that we open to all of the blessings of life as us right now, and that we live this amazing life. We live a life filled with joy and love and gratitude. We live a life filled with prosperity and hope and health and wholeness and success. That we live a life filled with every good thing. And every day we move forward in that life, accepting and enjoying all of these gifts. I know that we give our gift tonight from that place of fullness, from that place of overflow, knowing that it sets spiritual law in motion and is multiplied and returned back to us. I know that we give that gift tonight knowing that each one of us comes together to make this Center for Spiritual Living Asheville all that it was ever meant to be. It is a place of peace, a beacon of light, a tower of strength, and a fountain of wisdom that touches the lives of all who call it home. And so it is. feel it in the air. There's an abundance and an expansion. There's prosperity. There's richness. And I know that everything in these baskets is blessed because every time we give, that which we are goes with our gift. We are one. One, one, one. The magnificence and glory of Spirit itself moves forth with this gift. I know that it's filling up this room like a golden light from the floor to the ceiling and all between the walls. This air is rich and blessed with God as us. And as Spirit moves in our lives, things happen. So right here and right now, each of us is touched. We are blessed and we are healed. And I know that that energy, no matter how great the room, has to continue on. So it travels around this world to touch and bless and heal every being on this planet, always here and always now, touching every one of us here tonight, everyone who has ever been here, and everyone yet to come. And so it is. I love you.
Hi, I'm Barbara Waterhouse.
And I'm John Waterhouse. Thank you for watching this message today.
Through our website, cslasheville.org, we have over 1,000 messages, classes, and new thought books, all to download at no charge to anyone.
Producing this incredibly valuable collection of ideas is really making a difference in the world. It's changing lives everywhere.
Please go to our website, cslasheville.org, and click the Donate button. You can support this life-changing ministry, and when you do, we'll send you a note of thanks and also put you on our daily prayers.
By doing this, you're helping to raise the consciousness of people across the entire globe. We're changing lives together, those lives that are being more prosperous, more healthy, and more joyous. Thank you for being a part of this important work and supporting what we do here at CSL Asheville.
Thank you.